Hi, everybody. Welcome, and excited to have you on board for the Safri wave of our new initiative, our triathlon, which I've organised. Well, Liz, and Emma have organised for you. I'm just helping things along. So yeah, let's start off. My name's Ben Leech. I run a company called Cocoon Health. We put on initiatives and projects for companies to help the health and well-being of their staff. And one of our major ideas is to do more triathlons activities with companies to engage people in healthy pursuits. So on that note, we'll just show you what we've got in store for you. And Liz will interject with at any point during our little presentation here. So 2 seconds. I'm just trying to move the slide forward. Here we go. So this is our event, a rundown of what we're going to do. So we just talk about the venue, the course, a little bit of prep for the race itself, before, during, and after. The 4 disciplines of triathlons, not just swim, bike, run. You have got the transition also, and then a little bit of appendix just to give you some background information on training, nutrition, and the sort of stresses involved in triathlon and how to maximize your performance. So here we are, just to kick off our venue. We're very, very lucky to be hosting our wave at Dorney Lake, which is out in Eton, owned by Eton College. It's a purpose-built 2-kilometre lake, and it also hosted the 2012 Olympic rowing. So as you can see, it's quite a spectacular looking venue. I'll go through a little bit more about how the different transitions work. But yeah, it's quite beautiful. So we're lucky to be there. It's very safe as well. There's no cars. The swim is
very flat, Ben.
and it's pan flat. There's absolutely so no hills, a little bit of wind. If you see the back end of the lake, it's quite often a westerly wind. So you just have to prepare to come into a headwind for half of it, but the other half you obviously get buffeted along. So quite nice, quite nice. Yeah, you can obviously search online if you want to have a little look at more detail about the venue. Let's move on. So this is just zooming in a top view of what you've just seen, but we've annotated the different parts of the event just to give you a real idea of how it's going to take place, so you can visualize your different aspects of the swim, bike, and run. So just to kick off, you'll drive down the orange line. So as you arrive at the venue, there's a parking slot. You can see the car park on the top right-hand side. You'll park there, park your car. Then you'll just take all your kits out of the car and you'll walk towards where it says Event HQ, just at the top of the clubhouse. There you can register, pick up your numbers, your safety pins, just get your triathlon license for the day, which we'll sort for you, don't worry.
And we're saying 8:30, is it? But 8:30 to 9 o'clock to arrive and register.
Correct, yeah. If you can arrive 8:30 tonight, just gives you a bit of leeway to set everything up, prepare yourself, have a cup of coffee, calm down, obviously, any pre-match nerves. So yeah, you just got that short walk, get your gear, and then you're going to walk over to where it says, bit of a small part, it says bike racking transition. So you take all of your kit into the transition area, you'll lay it out essentially where your bike is. Your bike will be racked onto a stand, so don't worry, it'll be completely safe. The transition area is guarded at all times, so only competitors can come in and out of that area. You have to prove that you're competing. So all your gear is safe, essentially, if you haven't got people to give valuables to, for instance, on the day. So yeah, once all of that is done, it's just a case of getting into your wetsuit. And don't take that lightly. If you've never tried to get into a wetsuit, it can be quite a squeeze. They're very tight, so it's actually worth practicing that before the day. I would give yourself 10 minutes actually to squeeze into the wetsuit and just get it in the right spots under the arms, around your different extremities. just so you're comfortable.
And then you've got details of a company we can hire wetsuits from if needed, haven't you? So we'll send the details of that around if people don't want to buy a wetsuit.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll fire around the wetsuit company. It's much cheaper if you only intend to do one triathlon. Might be a better option. Yeah. So once you're in your wetsuit, everything's laid out, you're ready to go. You will just essentially wait instructions from Event HQ, and you'll be called to your wave. So I'll just go. The slide's quite important, really. So we'll spend a bit more time on it. You'll go onto the pontoon. If you look at the pontoons, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. The second pontoon up, you'll walk onto the pontoon as a group and essentially get into the water with the instructions of the chief marshal. And you can see the swim is very safety conscious. You are going into an open lake at this stage, and it is a 400-meter course. It's a deep lake. So you're going to have 6 to 8 kayaks around you at all times on the swim, plus a safety boat. So at any point you aren't comfortable, get into trouble, you just put your hand up and you'll get a kayak come over to you immediately and help. So we'll debrief you of this again at the time, but please don't be worried about the swim in terms of safety, because you will have people with you at all times securing that. So it's a single lap. You can just see the 400-meter swim goes up around a buoy, back across the lake, and then back down towards Event HQ, and you'll come out of the lake. There's a little ramp. You just come up the ramp, out of the swim, and then you will basically walk into or jog into the bike transition area. You'll remove the wetsuit, dry yourself off. You'll have your gear, your triathlon gear underneath the suit, and you'll put your shoes on, your bike shoes, and essentially it's then about getting the bike out of the transition, which you can see at the back area, and you just wheel out the transition, clip into your bike, or if you've got trainers on, just off you go, basically. And you can see the orange line. You go up, so hang on, anti-clockwise, get it right, around the lake. So one lap of the lake is 5 kilometers. You'll do 4 laps of the lake at this stage. Once you've done your 4th lap, you'll just see you'll come back in. The orange line comes in towards that circular area, and you'll wheel your bike back into transition, where again you'll do T2, that's transition 2. Change up into your trainers if you haven't already got them on, and you'll come out and run up to the green line. The green line is the 5-kilometer run. So you come up the inside of the lake, all the way to the top of the lake, and literally do a U-turn and back down. Okay, that gives you your 5K. There will be a huge finish gantry for you to come through at the end. And that is your triathlon completed.
Cool.
So,
and presumably people need to keep track of their laps for the bike. No one's counting your laps except for you.
that's a great point, Liz. Yeah, we've had many people do 5 laps, 3 laps, even 6 laps. So definitely keep your laps in check, because it'll completely skew your result. And obviously, if you do 3 laps, you'll get disqualified. So yeah, have your good idea if you've got a speedometer on your bike. It'll just double confirm, because actually when you're in the moment, counting your laps can be quite difficult. If you've got a distance, it's 20 kilometers, so you need to, and if it's in miles, that's about 12 miles on your speedometer or Garmin or whatever you use. Definitely a good.
It's all paved, isn't it? There's no like gravel or off-road.
No off-road. It was back when the Olympics had been there, it was an absolute mess, but that's long ago. It's completely smooth tarmac. There's very little actually to worry about technically.
And same for the run as well, right? The run's just on tarmac.
Yeah, run is all tarmac, so fast. A little bit of technical on the bike up at the top of the lake. You can't see on this map, but it's just a very small left and right turn. It's very, very smooth tarmac. Definitely.
Cool.
Great, guys. So yeah, once that's a big part. So spend a bit of time just studying that, having a look at the different elements where you're going to be, and that should give you some confidence for the day. So we covered a lot there. I'll skim through the rest of the slides. So this is an important slide as well. So you can start checking off the kit now, essentially, so that you're ready for the 11th of May, which will come around quicker than you think. So just quick tick list, really, for you to run through. It's swimsuit, goggles, swim cap. Actually, not swim cap, because Safris will kindly provide that for you for the day. Triathlon suit or bikes, shorts and top, however you feel comfortable on the bike and the run after you come out the water.
Is it a stupid question, Ben? Do you wear a swimsuit under the tri-suit?
Yes, Liz. Yeah, most people will have a suit, a very lightweight tri-suit. So you take the wetsuit off. However, it is wet. So what happens is you start the bike wet and it dries out as you cycle.
You've got wetsuit, then tri-suit, then a swimming costume, or you just have the tri-suit and nothing underneath?
So just a tri-suit, then a wetsuit over the top of the tri-suit. But some people choose to change, so take the wetsuit off, have a towel on, and then put on some dry kit.
Right.
It's completely fine. If you choose to do that. So have a towel ready at your transition zone. If you want to dry yourself and put some dry kit on.
Mm-hmm.
So all about how fast you want to do that T1, basically, transition one.
Yeah.
Running shoes, obviously, very important. Bicycle helmet, you definitely need a bike helmet. You will not be allowed to do the bike if you don't have a helmet. So ensure it's all in order. Cycling shoes, if you wish. You can cycle with trainers, but cycling shoes with cleats give you a bit more speed and effectiveness on the bike. Sunglasses, if it's sunny, fingers crossed. Sunscreen, always bring sunscreen. You're wide open on Dorney Lake, so even if it's overcast, you can get burnt. So I really recommend that. A hat, if you're just spectating or you're thinking about, again, watching people afterwards. Nutrition, highly important. If you need some nutrition during the race, again, it's a sprint triathlon. You don't need too much, but worth having. Hydration, definitely important. So water bottle, sports drink, depending what you use in training, bring that with. You don't need anything special, just what you've been used to, essentially. A towel, cash or credit cards, or phone, if you've got it on your phone. Ziploc bags for your wet gear. And then if you intend to shower afterwards, shower gel, shampoo, dry clothes. There are full showering facilities at Dorney. So you might want to get the lake off of you afterwards and enjoy a nice coffee up at the bar. All good. So yeah, you keep that list handy and check it off the night before, especially. So when you're packing your bag, you've got everything ready.
Yeah. And I suppose it's so obvious, but people obviously need to bring their bike, right? And any bike is acceptable as long as it's not electric.
Yeah, good point. Actually, on the bike again, yeah. So anything's available. Mountain bike yeah. There's no limit to bikes in terms of what you can use. Just the electric, correct?
Yeah.
So don't worry about it.
People need to put lights on the bike. Is it mandatory lights?
No lights required for triathlon. So not in the British triathlon rules, actually. So just as long as the bike's functioning. Worth on the bike note, actually, just in case, to bring a change of tyre, spare in a tube, and a pump.
Yeah.
We'll have some basic kit, mechanical kit on the day, but just for your own peace of mind, bring a pump and a spare in a tube, just in case.
Yeah. And yeah, make sure the bike's in good order the day before.
Yeah. Have a test run on the bike the day before if you've got anything electronic on the bike, like the gears. They'll need to be charged, and it obviously chain, everything else has to be functional. So definitely, yeah, that's the main area where people do go wrong, actually, in a triathlon. Other than forgetting to bring their wetsuit, which has happened. So we've got wetsuit in that, I think. Actually, we haven't, have we? But we'll remind you of that. Don't worry. Excellent. Let's shift on. So a bit of preparation, basic stuff again, just to have in hand really for you is what to do the day before the race, really, and race day itself. So ensure you're well rested, pretty obvious, but a good night's sleep will help performance. A good carbohydrate meal the evening beforehand is a great idea. So something plain, something pasta-based or rice-based, not too complex, certainly not heavy in protein. Something that easily assimilates energy. You can use that on the day. Stay well hydrated, obviously. Avoid alcohol if possible. We'll keep it down to one drink. Some people like just the one to relax, but minimal's better. And then make sure obviously you pack all your kit and equipment and make sure everything's in working order, as we've said. So bit of basic pre-race prep. The day itself. So when you actually get up in the morning, you'll probably want to get up nice and early, get yourself prepared, factor in your travel time to Dorney. Hopefully the traffic will be light at that time in the morning on Saturday. Race starts at 10:15 sharp. So the Safari Wave 10:15 actual start time. So as we mentioned, try and get there 8:30 to 9 a.m. Just gives you that time to relax, prepare, get everything arranged, and just settle yourself into the event. Make sure you eat good 2 hours beforehand as well. That's quite important. Gastrointestinal stress is a real blight of runs and triathlons, because firstly you're a bit nervous, a bit of tension, and secondly you're in race mode essentially. So your body is not necessarily in the right zone to process food. So 2 hours beforehand is a good call, I think. Generally, that's the recommendation. If you're used to drinking a bit of coffee or tea or caffeinated drinks beforehand, that's been proven to boost performance in any event lasting 30 minutes or more. And unless you're going to break the world records, you're probably going to be in this triathlon for about an hour and a half, approximately. We can come to that a bit later as well. So, bit of caffeine beforehand, great shout. Yeah, and the wetsuit, as we said before, make sure you're in the wetsuit 30 minutes before the start of the race. Bike's wrapped, kit's laid out, towel, shoes, socks, drinks, everything is where it should be for the next transition after the swim, as in the bike. All right, Liz, with that.
All good.
Excellent. We'll move on. Right, I've just tabulated out the different disciplines for you, just to show you exactly what you're doing on each leg of this triathlon. So just at the top, we've got the 400-meter lake swim, all starting together. We need the wetsuit that's required. Everyone goes off. It's one lap out into the lake, back and up the ramp and out. Into the bike, it's 20 kilometers, 4 laps of 5K, closed roads pass, flat and non-technical. Big point, no drafting is allowed. So don't tuck behind somebody on the bike. You will get disqualified. You'll get an initial warning and then you'll get disqualified. So it is an individual event on the bike. You get a huge benefit from sitting behind another rider. So please be aware of that. If someone passes you on the bike, don't jump on their wheel. You will get penalized.
Is it ideally, are people sort of staying on the left-hand side of the track and overtaking on the right, like on the road?
Yeah, generally, Lizzie, yeah. We advise people if riders are coming up behind someone, just to give a rider a shout.
Yeah.
Right or on your left. Yeah, just to give people a warning. So yeah, generally.
And stick to your line, isn't it? Don't like veer across the track without looking over your shoulder or signaling what you're doing.
Absolutely. No erratic moves on the bike, because if someone is coming behind you and you suddenly veer to the right, could easily cause a crash. It is a very wide open, non-technical course. It's very rare to have accidents. So, but yeah, hold your line, very important. And just be aware of other people around you on the bike. So into the
no music for the bike.
Definitely no headphones. Yeah, we've had a lot of that with rides in the past. People put their favorite Eye of the Tiger music on. they get them inspired, but that's a disaster because you can't hear what other riders are trying to communicate to you. And it's, yeah, you're just in a different zone. So definitely no music for the bike. Good point. Yeah. So you do your 4 laps, remember to count or measure with your Garmin or Wahoo. You rack your bike up, change your shoes if needed, out to the run, and it's 1 lap sorry, not a single lap, it's an up and down the lake, 2.5 up, 2.5 back for 5 kilometers. Okay. And again, nice and flat. You're not in contact with the bikes, a separate course, so you won't come across any bikes. No special rules on the run. If you want to sit behind somebody and let them pace you, absolutely fine. But yeah, it's just getting it done. The runners, yeah, underestimated the run's probably the toughest discipline overall. So again, we'll talk a bit about that in training. But finally, we have the transitions 1 and 2. So T1 is swim to bike, T2 is bike to run. And they're called the 4th discipline because people can save up to 5 minutes by doing 2 fast transitions, which contributes to your overall time in the triathlon. So actually getting the transitions correct and smooth and making sure you're relaxed as you do them as well is all part of the process of triathlon. So it's actually a chance to recover, but also a chance to gain a bit of time if you're clever. Okay. Excellent, guys. Keep that in mind or keep that as a reference for the event. And it is called a super sprint triathlon. You'll see sprint triathlon, that's actually different. It's a 750 swim. So this is a super sprint triathlon. So race day, again, some notes for you to just reflect back on post-race. But essentially, it's just some sensible ideas for you to get the most out of the event and feel actually good afterwards. Not completely zonked, but some obvious stuff, but just pay attention to it or do it on the day. Cool down after the race, rehydrate and refuel. Change out of your wet clothes as soon as possible, particularly if we get a cold day, avoid the chills. Make sure you get your belongings back and safely packed away. And a bit later in the day, you don't have to rush to do this, but some things you might want to do, shower and clean up, obviously. Relax and reflect, highly important part of the process of events and competing. Review your race, look at your performance. If you think you might want to do another one, or you think that's your triathlon career done and dusted, up to you. But it's a great experience. Stretch and foam roll, that's important just for muscle soreness, stiffness, fascial release, tightness in the muscles. Really recommend doing that at some point in the 2 hours prior to the event, finishing the event. Listen to your body. If you're a real avid trainer, you love gymming and everything else, might be worth a day off if you've done a competition or a very light session the day after. And a massage is lastly, I'd recommend a good deep sports massage. Just gets rid of all that lactic acid and metabolites that you might have produced. And you deserve it, to be fair. It's not an easy task finishing off a race, so treat yourself. So a few things just again to familiarize yourself with guys before the event that you might want to take into consideration. So how are we looking? Just a couple of key coaching tips that I've put together. Try not to over expand on this, but we can certainly offer you more. Just visualize the race beforehand. So think about each event. How are you going to approach it? The pace you're going to set. How you're going to go out. How you're transitioning. Essentially, take 10 minutes day before the race just to visualize that process of doing the whole triathlon. Stay relaxed, really important to stay relaxed on every discipline. If you go out tense, really tight in any of the 3 of the events, you'll quickly lose energy or slow down. So it's important, especially cycling and running, just to keep loose, allow the breath to come in and out. No tension in the upper body. It's quite important. All the process of running and cycling is really a lower body drill and a good strong core. Again, we can talk about that more in training. use the transition to take a breather, be nice and efficient, don't rush, and be methodical. Take on a gel or some hydration at the transitions if you wish, just for a boost. Don't have to do that again if you've had a good carb loading process before the event. You really don't need that much more energy. But I would definitely have water and a sports drink available. That would be my key recommendation at the transitions. Yeah, that's the key coaching points. Lots more we can expand on there, but I'll let you come to me personally or as a group if we anything else there, Liz, that you think we need to.
Don't think so. Yeah, key thing with the gels and things is to train with it, isn't it? Is my
Yeah,
understanding.
yeah, absolutely. If you haven't used gels in training, don't start using them on the event because that can cause real GI gastrointestinal distress. So don't try to think new on your race day. That's a classic um, faux pas, basically. Stick to what you know, stick to what's worked, and trust in the process. Great, guys. We're nearly there. So just put a basic appendix. This is your reference guide. Again, it's not to say that you must eat this, but just some ideas of what you could eat leading up to the event. So lots of, or in the weeks and prior to the event, also as you're training. So very whole foods, lots of natural foods, trying to cut down on the ultra processed stuff, which is never good for you. Keeping carbs high, but good nutrition essentially, so that you're getting the micro and macro nutrition you need with the increased training. You can add a supplement as well. We do recommend multivitamins, sports supplements during training. It's quite hard to get daily the load you need of micronutrition, so it is worth a good multivit or sports supplement as well. Any recommendations I can give? So yeah, have a run through that. It's nothing crazy or it's just good whole food, but laid out in a format that you might find useful to help your training. Cool. That's appendix 1. And yeah, a little bit about training. I know more is not always better. Okay, this is just a demonstration of immunity and exercise, actually, which is quite important nowadays and was real big during COVID. We actually did a few studies on this at university and found that a moderate amount of exercise does boost immune function. So it's a really good way to boost your natural defense to get into a training regime. But if you take it too far, as you can see with the purple line, if you go super intense on the exercise loading, your immune function decreases, your infection risk actually goes up. And that's why a lot of elite athletes have to be really careful with their load. So the key take home here is with your training plan, make sure you don't overdo it. Don't try and cram it all in. Space it out over a period of time. You've got about 12 weeks, which is perfect if you start training now. You can certainly train for a triathlon in 8 weeks also. But I've got plenty of plans. Again, we can discuss that at a later point if you need some extra advice, but don't overdo it. And one last appendix was just a bit of stress versus performance. So we use this in all sorts of areas of life, work, family, and performance in triathlons and events. But that middle zone, that's where we want to get to. It's like too calm, too chilled. You're not going to do much. But also at the other side of the spectrum, if you're super distressed, you'll get fatigue, exhaustion, health, breakdown, burnout. Not good. So we want to try and make sure our stress levels are in that eustress zone in the middle, where we reach a state of optimal performance. Everything's functioning correctly, and we actually feel energized by what we're doing, not fatigued and burnt out. Yeah, bit of a generalistic slide, but gives us an idea. So it's just a bit about us as well. I'll let you take a look at that. What I've already told you a bit about what Cocoon Health does with the companies creating initiatives for individuals and big clients to help their workforces gel and become healthier together, basically doing events like triathlon as a medium to push that forward. Have a little read of that if you get a chance, and just a little bit about our coaching services. So it's a big part of what we do is actually coach people to become healthier, fitter versions of themselves and achieve things they would normally think they could achieve, like triathlon. So give me a shout any point in time. We can have a chat on the phone and book a 15-minute call with me. We can talk about your specific training if requires. My name, my number and email are there, and the website if you want to have a quick look. But we will be covering over March. We'll do some group training sessions also, which Liz and Mary Louise will communicate with you to give you some pointers. And that's about all from me. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for listening.
Thanks very much, Ben. I asked my questions as we've gone along, but if anyone does have questions, please email them over either to me, Mary Louise, or direct Ben with his email there. And if we get lots of questions, we'll put them into a sort of Q&A document and we can circulate that around so everyone can see what questions people have been asking.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Look forward to the 11th of May.